Good evening. Welcome to Part 3 of PFBI. I have two special guests for this episode. One of them has requested to remain anonymous, so I will respect their wishes. The other you may know very well. I do hope you enjoy. Hey there, once again. I'm sorry for the lack of recent updates. I've had to recuperate from actual exhaustive physical demand. I'm hoping you've had better days than I've had recently. Honestly, it was more hell than I could have hoped for. So my higher-ups finally decided on a punishment for my first post. Mandatory field work for an expendable office scrub. I managed to survive, so that's good at least. When I got back, I found someone else in my office. The person they assigned to keep an eye on me was Selena. Cruel irony, in my opinion. She was a tad less than furious when she found out I had put her story up. Let me just tell you this. It's a major pain, as well as incredibly difficult to type with one broken arm. As long as she didn't kill me or damage me beyond repair, she can do as she wishes, as declared by her higher-ups. So I finally found that scripting I wrote last. This one is very weird, which is saying something. Anyway, here it is. This case, there was no suspect. There wasn't even a crime. At least, not in our world. Sitting on the suspect side of the table was an elderly man, Hanklin. He claimed he was a police officer that served 10 years ago until he retired. Our records pulled up an officer matching his description and blood type. Yet their file said that they had been deceased for the last 15 years. After hearing his story, we suspect he came from another Earth, but from a different timeline or universe, dimension? The fact is, he didn't come from space specifically, so his case is ours to deal with. Interrogating this case was a stunningly gorgeous woman. I can't even begin to describe her. We call her the Eye Siren. Her true physical description has never been seen by a human. She appears different to everyone, the pinnacle of absolute beauty as each person imagines it. Whether you look at her in person, through a screen, even a photo, her form is what your subconscious desires. She's been able to use this ability quite well to her advantage, getting whatever she wants. In this case, the truth.
Mr. Hanklin, you said your name was? I wanted to ask you to tell me again, in your words, what happened.
Hanklin stared in shock and confusion at I. For simplicity's sake, I'll just refer to her as Sire. Saying I over and over and over again might sound like I'm interrogating.
You look like her. Why? How?
A smile crept onto the lips of Sire.
Ah, I see. I am able to bring your loved ones back to life for small times of communications. They speak through me as I can take their appearance.
One of the many lies to break down the walls of protection. It's worked in the past countless times. Most of the time.
Grace. How have you been? It's a dumb question. You're dead. Why did I ask that?
I feel weightless. It feels like sleeping. My mind lost most of what I can remember. What happened, Hanklin?
He began to sob, covering his face with his hands.
You were right. You were right about him. I should have just ended it there. And now you're gone. Everyone's gone. That's all.
It's all right. Slowly breathe. Let's take it one step at a time.
Hanklin took a few shuddering breaths before continuing.
You're right. Okay. It all started in high school. We had a best friend, Michael. You hated him. There was something about him you saw that no one else did. We graduated together. I got the lowest scores of our class. He was standing up there with the highest scores anyone had ever seen. He had more focus than I did, and it showed in everything he did. He always said he would change the world. A few months went by when both Mike and I went into the military. Basic training was brutal, but also kind of fun. Our sergeant scared the piss out of me, but Mike, damn, he had no emotion. No one could break him. He did everything perfect. He was a pinnacle for what we should aim for. Naturally, most people hated him for that. We made it through basics. A few months go by and we were deployed. We were there for a few years. A lot of hell happened. I felt lucky I made it with just a few scars. Mike, he always went above and beyond for us, always making sure we all made it back after every mission. He was a real brother to me. When the time came to go home, Michael stayed. He told me, "I'm not done here. I want to finish what we set out to do." I couldn't talk him out of it. None of us could. I came home, and he stayed in hell. I wanted to put my experience to use. The desk job didn't suit me.
Okay, that hurt.
I went through the police academy, barely making it through the legal stuff. It was tough as hell, but preferred it to the hell across seas. I spent about a decade as an officer before it felt more of a burden. I retired and spent a few of my months with Grace, my wife.
Hanklin's eyes began to tear up again. Sire spoke to him in what I'm guessing to be Grace's voice.
But what happened? How did I die?
I don't know. You were sitting there 1 minute and gone the next. We were in the hotel room packing up to head home, and I got a call from a number I hadn't seen in years. Mike. I answered him almost immediately, asking how he was doing, but there was only silence. I asked him if he was okay, and more silence. In a voice that sounded older than I had last heard it, he asked me a question that I wasn't prepared to answer.
Do you have a solution to stop the violence in this world?
I was quiet for what felt like too long. I told him that I guessed treating each other with kindness and consideration. He was quiet again for a half minute.
If that were true, why hasn't it worked?
I didn't know how to answer him. Grace, you kept looking at me with concern. I was about to tell you before Michael started again.
I don't know what else to do. I wish I knew the solution for world peace, man. For what's about to happen, I want you to know, Hank. I'm sorry. I've tried to find the answer. I've always found it in the past. I just hope they can forgive me. I love you, brother.
The line went dead, and the ground started shaking violently. I didn't know what the hell was happening. Everything felt so hot all of a sudden. I tried to see through the window. All I saw was a blinding light. My mind felt like it was fading away completely. The next thing I knew, I was in the emergency room. I'm not sure where. I was in so much pain I couldn't think straight. After a couple weeks, my body stopped hurting. From the doctor report, I was found on the edge of the Nevada desert. Radiation emitting from my body, as if I had absorbed it somehow. These advanced doctors cured me from my blister-covered radioactive body. Come to find out, everyone I knew personally is gone. Hardly anyone ever heard about them, as if they didn't even exist.
Hanklin took a few sighs before going on.
I just wish I could have had the answer for him, you know? Maybe I could have stopped all this. Maybe you'd still be alive.
He stared longingly into Sire's eyes.
You did your best, Hank. You told him what you believed. It was up to him to decide to accept or not. Go and live. Be happy. Not for my sake, but for your own.
But I don't know where to go. Apparently I'm classified as dead here.
Why not try to get a job here? They seem accepting of a dead woman already. What about it?
Damn, spending your whole life believing in someone just to have them destroy everything you've had. That sounds like my first 3 relationships. I'm not sure where they're going to assign Hanklin, but I suspect he's going to be another field agent. With all that radiation, I'm curious if he'll become a hulking massive muscle, join a team of fighters and save New Jersey or something. Oh well, I'll update you as soon as I can. Have a great rest of your time of day and stay safe. Your friendly PFBI guy. Bit by bit, very slowly, the story is unraveling. There are more parts online released upon Reddit, but I use the time that I can to get these parts out. I would like to give a huge thank you to Creepy Clown Girl, as she lent her voice for this narration. The other narrator has requested to remain anonymous, which I will respect. Do have a fantastic rest of your day, night, evening, whatever time it may be wherever you are. And do remember that there's so much we've yet to understand in this world.
Also, side note, I am releasing my 100 subscriber special once I reach 100 subscribers. If you want to watch it, subscribe.